So Sister Kristen hit me up 8 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning. She said, look, yo, I don't care what you doing, you need to stop it and binge watch She's Gotta Have It right now. See here, let's talk turkey. I'm a big fan of Spike Lee. I was born in '88. So I'm a big proponent of leaving the first half, 80s and 90s Spike Lee, all the pieces from that time period, the hell alone. But now Spike and his wife Tanya are back with a Netflix 10-episode remix of She's Gotta Have It. And I gotta say, I binge watched all of it. I love it. The show starts just like the movie with main character and visual artist Nola Darling stating that she wants to clear her name. She knows that many people consider her a quote-unquote thought because she's sexually free and unashamed of it. You see, the central conflict of this show is that Nola is juggling several sex partners while trying to figure her own life out and dealing with the ramifications of both. Nola Darling is what many would consider as woke. She knows what it means to be black, a woman, and an artist in a post-Trump America. And at her core, Nola Darling is a creative 20-year-old something who's trying to find financial stability through her art. Now, right after the intro, they show footage telling the story of gentrification in Brooklyn. In essence, showing how Brooklyn went from Biggie and Bodega to Starbucks and Whole Foods. Talking about how it used to be cheap to own a brownstone, now you're paying $2,000 for a studio. This opening is very Spike Lee, especially in the sense that there's a piano piece underneath expressing sadness over this huge change. Brooklyn, just like Nola, is fighting to stay true to itself while adapting to so many external influences, especially when talking about everything that's happening in the news as far as the new feminism movement and sexual harassment. This show is timely. After the introductions of the protagonist and Brooklyn, we see a montage of guys harassing Nola as she walks down the street in her neighborhood. This sequence is reminiscent of that viral video of a woman walking down the street in New York while being embraced by a barrage of greetings and insults by wannabe suitors. So going back to our three partners who I alluded to earlier, Jamie, Mars, and Greer. Jamie is the romantic, Mars is the goofy, and Greer is the conceited. Her apartment even takes on a different personality when she's with each guy, as Sister Kristen so keenly pointed out. Nola even changes the sheets before a different lover comes by. I'm pretty sure this is not just symbolism, but hygiene as well. All three, as Nola states, wants to possess her, yet she refuses to be owned in any fashion. Like any person who's having her cake and eating it too, she doesn't want to commit, and uses the fact that all three men know about each other as justification. But I think to try and bog Nola down as simply a greedy individual is to miss the point. She sees committing to anything besides her purpose as a submission of her personal power and leverage, which life forces her to reassert from time to time. And somewhere wrapped up in all of this are her control issues, but when you're dating three people, you have to be on top of things. No pun intended. At this stage in her life when Nola is still trying to figure herself out, maybe it's for the best that she solely commits to herself and being an artist. And if she's going to go that route, that puts her in the position to have to make several choices. There's no way her balancing act of juggling three men and her career can last long term. This show, just like the film, taps on those age-old questions of how would everybody react if it was a woman juggling multiple sex partners instead of a man? Is it possible to love more than one person? Are we meant to be with more than one person? In addition to the relationship aspect, a lot of the conversations in this show hit pressure points. White privilege, self-love, spiritual and mental well-being, and the aforementioned gentrification. Spike even through Nola vents some of our frustrations still about Denzel not getting an Academy Award for Malcolm X. I'm still angry about that. Of course, this show was packed with political messages, a lot of them in the form of old issues, which are unfortunately new issues for a new generation. Nola's homegirl Clorinda is Hillary from Fresh Prince Bougie with the intelligence and boldness of Freddie from A Different World. She and Nola had a falling out. They're still cool. Them living together is just out of the question. Nola's other homie Shemeka works at a nightclub to make ends meet and provide for her daughter. She notices women with certain body types make more money at the club. Consequently, her issues with money are now tied to her already existing personal body issues. It gets deep. There's a scene at the end of the first episode where something happens to Nola and her world is turned upside down. After that, there's a symbolic scene in which she's reclaiming her power and refusing to become a victim. What she's wearing is a salute to Gordon Parks' 1963 picture of black Muslim women. In addition to that, there's some scenes that are an ode to the play For Color Girls and to Spike's older work. If you're familiar with Spike Lee and his work, then you'll know that over the years through his films, he's created a parallel world to his home, Brooklyn. In fact, most of Spike Lee's films are a love letter to New York. And now that I think about it, Spike's life is a love letter to New York. And this show is no different. It's NY to the 25th power. For the most part, these films involve many of the same actors who play different roles. They, along with Spike, have grown and matured. For example, his sister Jua Ali, who played the original Clorinda Bradford, is now an elder statesman playing the new Nola Darling's mother. Even the mayor character played by the late Ossie Davis in Do the Right Thing, God rest his soul, is now played by a new actor. This show is a symbolic passing of the torch on many levels. It gives me a sudden rush of nostalgia like I've grown up with these people. The acting is top-notch from the whole cast. Baltimore native DeWanda Wise kills it as Nola Darling. She brings to life her many complicated layers. She stays true to the original character while giving life to the expanded version of her. As Spike recalled for Rolling Stone, he didn't have the time or the money to show Nola as an artist in the original movie. In fact, in the movie, we never see her paint. In the show, her pieces are everywhere. The actors who played Nola's three boyfriends, three suitors, or whatever you want to call them, held it down. They represented. My biggest question going into watching this series was, how would actor Anthony Ramos play Mars Blackman, who was originally Spike Lee's character? And as a testament to his acting ability, I honestly forgot by episode 4 or 5 that Spike played this character. I have to say though, my favorite character is Nola's therapist. She's more like a mystical, emotional, and spiritual guide, like Yoda. If I have one gripe with this show, it's the painfully corny tiger growl / mating call that Greer uses while he's with Nola. Now, I don't remember if the first Greer did this, but I'm forced to believe that the writing team wrote this in there to make fun of a character who believes that he's God's gift to mankind. The music is amazing. Sade, Biggie, the Isleys, KRS-One, you name it. On top of that, when the scene ends, they show the album art of each song as it's played on the soundtrack. This is a genius touch in the streaming era and gives the show a playlist-like feel. Visually, this show is fire. Spike is a master of that close-up signature shot. He, along with his DP Daniel Patterson, use it at times when the emotional tension is at its height. Even those floating dolly shots feel like old school Spike when the character is addressing the audience or deep in thought. The tone of She's Gotta Have It flows from movie mode to theater and back seamlessly. The colors on this thing invade your eyes, vibrant reds, blues, and earth tones, all sitting on elegant brown shades of skin. The casting director did a great job. Almost everybody on this show looks like a model. Have you seen DeWanda Wise's eyes? She looks like a real-life Twilight character. The artwork plays a big part in this show too, and it's amazing. And shout out to the writing team. There's so many scenes that hit me in the gut as far as contemporary issues, as far as politics, as far as paying homage to the ancestors, and paying homage to Spike's old film. The heart of She's Gotta Have It is empowerment, self-love, resurrection, and pushing through during times of pain. And I would be remiss to say that this show is extremely important because mainstream America really has no reference points to a lot of things that are black. I've seen so many people online say that She's Gotta Have It is too much like Insecure, just because black people are dating in a show. When there's been so many movies in the 90s about black people dating. And if you go back to 1986, the original She's Gotta Have It was about black folks dating. The classic show A Different World from the 80s and the 90s had a whole bunch of black people dating. You had Living Single. You had Girlfriends. Entire episodes of Martin were dedicated to Martin and Gina's relationship. Not taking anything away from either one, both are dope, but She's Gotta Have It came before Insecure. I'm grateful for Spike's wife Tanya giving him the idea to resurrect this movie as a show. This is how a Spike Lee joint needs to be remixed today. I'm giving the Netflix version of She's Gotta Have It a 9 out of 10. What do you think about She's Gotta Have It? Let me know, comment below. If you like this video, like and share this video. If you want to help me make more videos, pledge $1 to my Patreon page. This keeps me out of the Hunger Games and in front of yo face. We got more movie reviews coming you, and we got more book reviews coming you, and we got more of that random stuff coming your way. I'm in the bathroom.